Today's question is, why did God point out Job to Satan? That's a good question. And it's one that's tripped up a lot of folks. You're reading through Job, and all of a sudden, God brings Job up to Satan, and you think, wait, what? Why'd he do that? Well, let's slow down, open the Bible, and see what's really going on. Because once you understand what God's up to, it could blow your socks off. So God was proving that real faith ain't bought. In Job chapter 1 verse 8, God says, "Have you considered my servant Job, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil?" God ain't throwing Job under the bus. He's holding him up like a trophy of true faith. And Satan says, "Well, sure, he worshiped you. Look at all you've given him. I mean, you got this hedge of protection around him. You've blessed everything he does." But God's making a point. Real faith isn't about the blessings. It's about loving God for who he is, not what he gives. This ain't a setup to ruin Job. It's a showdown to prove that genuine faith stands firm, even when your life's falling apart. God is still the one in control. Don't think for 1 second that Satan's running the show. God gives him permission, but God also draws that line. In Job chapter 1 verse 12, he says, "All that he has is in your hand." He's given Satan permission, but he sets the boundary. "Only against him do not stretch out your hand." And then in chapter 2 verse 6, he says, "He is in your hand, but you have to spare his life." So God's not wringing out his hands, hoping it all works out. He's in full control. Satan can't take a single step without God allowing it. That means your trials ain't random. If you're going through something, it ain't cause God's forgot about you. It's cause he's got a purpose in it. God's teaching us something about suffering. This whole book tackles one of the oldest questions there is. Why do good people suffer? And through Job, God shows us. Suffering don't mean God's mad at you. Faith that clings to God through pain is the real deal. God is worth more than comfort, money, or even our health. Job loses everything. And what does he say? "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." That's Job chapter 1, verse 21. So you talk about faith. That's the kind of worship that shuts the devil up. God was refining Job, not ruining him. Now, here's the part that folks miss. Job didn't come out of that trial empty. He came out refined. He was better. He was closer to God. In Job chapter 42, verse 5, he says, "I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see you." He didn't just know about God, he knew him. And God blessed him double after it was all said and done. In Job chapter 42, verse 10. Sometimes God lets the storm hit, not to sink the boat, but to show you he's in it with you. He ain't trying to wreck you. He's growing your faith, deepening your worship, and showing the world he's worthy no matter what. So why did God point out Job? Because Job was the real deal. His faith wasn't fake, and God was about to put that faith on display, not just for Satan, but for all of us. Through Job, we learn how to suffer with hope, trust when we don't understand, and worship even in the ashes. So keep reading your Bible and don't be dumb.